Welcome to Ankeny High School and high school wrestling here on CISN.TV. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Pat Curtis, along with Keith Bornis tonight for this dual meet between crosstown rivals Ankeny and Ankeny Centennial. Keith, a couple of highly ranked teams here. Both teams ranked in the top 10 by the predicament early in the season. Ankeny now ranked number 6 by IAWrestle.com, and Centennial, a lot of wrestlers back from a team that finished 4th in the traditional tournament, 3rd in the dual team tournament last year at state. Some great wrestlers on both teams. Should be a very entertaining duel here tonight.
It really could be a great duel, but it could also kind of get away from one or the other tonight. You get into these crosstown rivals, and if one team kind of gets on a roll, upsets happen, and so it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. As we're going to be starting tonight's meet at 182 pounds, and in these upper weights, we know that Centennial is kind of going to be favored. So if they get on a roll, who knows what could happen? But at the same time, Ankeny, a very solid team. So it's going to be a lot of fun no matter what happens.
Yeah, crowd here in this small gym at Ankeny High School. The Hawks come in with a record of 2-1. Of course, we're early in the season here. The Hawks losing to number 1 ranked Southeast Polk. They have victories over Des Moines Lincoln and also beat Mason City, which has some very good wrestlers this year, as always. And Centennial, a record of 6-1, just winning their own invite over the weekend, beating PCM, Sioux City North, ADM, Ballard, and then Dowling in the championship. And they also have a dual win over Ottumwa. Centennial's only lost to a very good Fort Dodge team, and that was 43-26. We're getting the introduction of the starting lineups, and they start at 106 pounds. There you see Trevor Anderson, the number 1 ranked sophomore for Ankeny. He's a defending state champion. We have a couple of those for the Ankeny Hawks at 113, Trevor Anderson, and at 138, Caleb Rachi. We'll get a chance to see the University of Iowa recruit on the mat tonight, ranked number 1 at 138 pounds. We could see a lot of wrestlers or coaches playing a little chess here tonight, moving wrestlers up and down the lineup, right?
You sure can. Ankeny is kind of in a situation where they're going to just kind of come out and wrestle straight ahead. They it didn't seem like they were planning on moving people around, but Centennial, they wrestled or weighed in several people at different weights tonight, and so we'll see how things kind of transpire, especially as they get going at 182 pounds. If Centennial gets on a roll with 182, 195, 220 heavyweight, and they start to feel pretty good about things, then they take a look at those lower weights, where if Ankeny has any chance in winning tonight, it is going to be in those lower weights and scoring bonus points. So if Ankeny starts to come back at 106, get into 113, and all of a sudden they're back on a roll, that's when Centennial could start moving people around. We think we know what the lineup is, but it's way too soon to tell.
All right. We talked about some of those highly ranked Ankeny wrestlers. Centennial has a number of highly ranked wrestlers. We mentioned 9 wrestlers at the state tournament last year, 6 place winners, and 5 of those wrestlers return this year, led by Ben Monroe, ranked number 2 at 152 pounds. He's been in the state championship match each of his first 3 years, finishing second as a freshman, sophomore, and junior. Now back for his senior campaign. He has already committed to wrestle at Iowa State University. We'll take a timeout here on CISN.TV.
final days to pay what we pay at Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. Employee pricing for all on most new 19 models and your favorite 2020 Chevy vehicles. Time is ticking. New Silverado Cruise. You pay what we pay. Up to $13,000 off or up to $8,000 off plus 0% for 72 months. New 2020 Equinox. You pay what we pay. Up to $8,000 off or lease as low as $199 per month. Biggest savings of the year. The time is now. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Moms typically get to make a majority of the healthcare decisions for their family. That can be a lot of pressure, but not for me, because I know the choice is ours. For medical tests like MRIs, X-rays, CAT scans, and of course mammograms, ask your doctor to refer you to Iowa Radiology. They work around our hectic schedules, they're the best at what they do, and they're so great with my family. They truly care, and it shows. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule an appointment. Iowa Radiology, our focus is your good health.
We might not always know what the day will bring, but some things are certain. The sun will rise and your lights will go on. That's because at MidAmerican Energy, we're obsessively, relentlessly committed to providing you energy when and where you need it, to connecting with you and keeping our communities safe and strong. Because the most important thing we put our energy into is you. We're obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
High school wrestling tonight from Ankeny High School. It's crosstown rivals Centennial and the Ankeny Hawks. And we'll start at 182 pounds. Our first match tonight will be Desmond Vaughn against Xander Kenworthy. That is, if those two wrestlers are introduced by the coaches and sent out on the mat. Centennial coached by Jay Groth in his 7th year after spending 19 years at Roosevelt, and Coach Groth scoring his 100th dual victory over the weekend with Centennial. 100 dual wins in 7 years, leading the Jaguars. And the Ankeny Hawks, led by Coach Jack Wignall in his 6th year. An Iowa Central alum, Coach Groth for Centennial spent some time at the University of Iowa before transferring to Iowa State University a few years back.
So we just witnessed the flip. We know that we're starting at 182 pounds, but now we know who won the toss. Centennial did win the toss, and they have elected to present their wrestlers on the odd matches. And so Centennial brought their first wrestler out tonight. A pretty good football player in his own right here as Desmond Vaughn takes the mat. We're waiting to see what Ankeny is going to bring in. Wrestlers have to check in with the scoring officials. And so...
Is that Cade Benetham moving up from 170?
Yes, Cade Bentham moved up from 170 pounds. So already some trickery in the lineup here.
So one freshman replacing another in the Ankeny lineup at 182 pounds. That is Cade Benetham out there in the yellow and maroon uniform with white mixed in as well. A takedown for Desmond Vaughn, so Centennial with the first points on the board, and looking for a pin is Desmond Vaughn. Just underway at 182 pounds. That's where we're starting tonight in this dual meet between Centennial and Ankeny.
Bentham's dad was a state champion back in his day in high school. And so as he comes out here, to be perfectly honest, his goal right now is to just make sure he doesn't get pinned. Every point is going to count, and if he can start putting together some offensive moves here, he has been completely on the defense so far tonight as he got taken down, and then as he got back up, got put into the cow catcher and put on his back, fought off, but Vaughn in on a great double leg for the 2 more points as he takes the lead now 7-0.
Couple of takedowns and a near fall for Vaughn here in the first period. About 30 seconds to go in this first match of 14 tonight from the Hawks Nest, as they call it here.
Great job by Vaughn, as he is really controlling from that top position. He had a good deep waist in. Now he's getting a half and a near side ankle. Both wrestlers slide out of bounds. We'll start over in referee's position with 15 seconds to go.
Desmond Vaughn of Centennial, a 7-1 lead with 15 seconds to go in the first period.
Nice job getting up to his feet is Bentham, but take him right back down. Vaughn doing a great job, still controlling with a deep waist, and actually had an arm underneath there, trying to get a 2-on-1, maybe try and work for some tilt points, but end of the period comes in.
At the end of one, Vaughn for Centennial with a 7-1 lead. The official out there on the mat is Jesse McCready. Told me he had to drive about 3 miles to get here tonight.
Oh, those long trips.
He's from Ankeny. The other official out there on the mat assisting with this first match, Ryan Kravoski, who's from Newton.
Nice job on arm, passed an outside single there as Vaughn brings Bentham down hard, but only got 2 back points to go with it. Bentham a little surprised at how hard he came down on the mat, and some coaches standing up thinking he may have come down a little hard.
Very close there, but no call by the official. So now 11-1, the wrestler from Centennial, Vaughn, in front of Cade Benethan, the freshman for Ankeny. The first Hawk wrestler out on the mat tonight at 182 pounds and moved up from 170, so giving up a little bit of weight here in this first match.
Bentham's doing a great job keeping his hips square to the mat and making it a little tougher for Vaughn to get him turned over. But Vaughn has been completely in charge of this match so far.
Another escape for the freshman makes it 11-2, Vaughn.
And this is really a great place for Vaughn to be in, as 2 of the takedowns that he's had, he has taken Benetham right to his back for those extra points. A lot of people are just happy to score a 2-point takedown, but to have a 2-point with either 2 near fall or 3 near fall, those 4 and 5 point moves start to add your score up very quickly.
Just 10 seconds left in this second period. Vaughn on top, 11-2. Our first match of the night at 182 pounds between Centennial and crosstown rival Ankeny. And that's our score at the end of 2. Desmond Vaughn with an 11-2 lead.
Showing the optional start here as he's going to release, more than likely, release Bentham as coaches start coming to the mat, maybe thinking that there should have been some type of a caution for the bottom wrestler, as Bentham is not getting his knees and hands to the lines correctly from the referee's position. Second caution now for Vaughn, as we're going to try and get this third period started, and we do.
A third escape for Benetham, and it is 11-3 now. Just underway in this third period, 182 pounds, our first match of the night. And here's a takedown for Ankeny's freshman wrestler, Cade Benetham.
You really have to be impressed with how Benetham wrestled there. Vaughn was in on a deep high crotch, and Benetham had a tremendous sprawl and was able to spin around to get the 2. And coaches right away saying, let him go, see if he can get another takedown. Keep it with the, and he does! Almost.
Benetham with the headlock, but Vaughn able to roll through and get 2 more points for a takedown, and now leading 14-5.
Bentham's going to try and do everything he can to keep this under 8 points and just have it be a decision rather than a major decision. 14-6. It's right at 8 points now.
With less than a minute to go in the match. So if the match ended here, just 4 points would be given to Centennial.
And if Bentham can somehow squeeze out a takedown, it would move it down to 3 team points instead of the 4.
25 seconds to go. Coach Groth really urging his wrestler Vaughn to get some points here. Although he does have that 8-point differential.
Bentham did a great job on an outside single attempt, but it just didn't happen. He's going to have to risk it here for a second.
All right, the final score at 182 pounds is 14-6. A win for Centennial's Desmond Vaughn. And so Centennial takes a 4-0 lead in the team score after our first match. And now we'll listen in and see who's going to be introduced at 195 pounds. I didn't quite understand the names when they were called.
I didn't catch it either. Certainly not who's listed.
And I think that's Ethan Frazier for Centennial, ranked number 8 and a state qualifier last year. .30 seconds into this match, Keith is going to check and see if we can find out who the wrestler, just identify this wrestler for Ankeny. Ethan Frazier, a state qualifier as a junior, now a senior, and again ranked number 8 in the state at 195 pounds. If that's Frazier out there, we'll have to check that as well. But 4-0 our score. Ankeny Centennial with the lead after our first match of the night, starting at 182 pounds. Here's a takedown for the Centennial wrestler.
All right, so talking amongst some of the Ankeny faithful here, we may have had the first match wrong, as it was Bentham versus
Vaughn.
No, they say this is Vaughn here. Logan Neals may be wrestled up, as this is going to be Vaughn for Centennial and Palmeranthe, I think I got the last name correct, Palmeranthe for Ankeny. And so a little bit of maneuvering around as both schools are trying to get the upper hand when it comes to scoring as many team points as possible. Centennial wants to get out to a great start, which they did. Try to get bonus points, because the lower weights are where Ankeny is going to have some advantages. Another caution here as wrestlers are struggling a little bit to get into referee's position to the referee's liking. But Palmeranthe doing a nice job controlling here from the top, keeping Vaughn down. And if we're wrong, we are very sorry. We did not have the backups or all of the people who weighed in at those weights. And, coaches, they don't always like to give your secrets and say, here's our play-by-play for our plan tonight.
Yep. Looks like Cole Palmeranthe, the junior for Ankeny. And you said Desmond Vaughn for Centennial. So that was Logan Niels that won that first match. And now a 3-0 lead for Centennial at 195 pounds.
And we'll see if there's a little bit of injury timeout here.
With this injury timeout, we'll take 30-second timeout. Let's see if they're going to. Looks like we do have time. Back after this on CISN.TV.
Why do I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
We're in the second period at 195 pounds. We believe this is Desmond Vaughn for Centennial out there against Cole Pomrenke, the junior, for Ankeny. After that little injury timeout.
Their question was whether or not there was a headbutt by the Centennial wrestler. And so the officials are talking it through to see if anything needs to be awarded one way or the other. But right now it is going to stay as nobody saw anything. But the Ankeny coaching staff and the Ankeny faithful, they saw it.
Coach Jack Wignall not happy about the no call there. 1 minute to go in the second period. We'll try and give you an update on the time, the clock. A minute to go in the second period. So we're halfway through this match at 195 pounds. And the wrestler from Centennial up 3-0.
Nice job by Vaughn, as he is doing a great job trying to get at inside control, and he's backing Pomrenke up enough that he got a stalling call, but Cole right in on a single leg attempt, but Vaughn stopped that, and now working into position.
Plenty of time here, about 30 seconds left in the second period.
Pomrenke is trying to get into a push-pull situation. He can pull his head up and work his way up the back to try and get the two, but he's got to get his head up before he would be awarded it.
No points yet. 10 seconds to go in the second period. Pomrenke trying to get a takedown.
He can just pull that head out.
5, 4, 3. And that's the way the second period will end. A 3-0 lead for Desmond Vaughn of Centennial.
Pretty good job there by Vaughn, controlling the head and not letting that get up to one side or the other, and it kept the score from becoming 3-2, staying at 3-0. Pomrenke right to his feet here at the start of the third. Vaughn controlling with a deep waist and a half. Trying to get that forward pressure and control his hips from staying back behind.
He's got that near wrist.
And Pomrenke has already been warned for stalling once, so he's going to have to start showing signs of improvement.
And one escape for Pomrenke. So now it's 3-1. Vaughn on top with 1:20 to go in the match.
We know that Vaughn can get a takedown. We also have seen Pomrenke get in on a outside single, but just could not get his head cleared to get the 2-point takedown. So this last minute is setting up to be pretty dynamic. Nice push-pull action by both wrestlers trying to get that inside control.
And there is now under a minute to go in the match. Again, 3-1 our score. Desmond Vaughn on top here at 195 pounds. There's a shot by Pomrenke. .40 seconds to go. The Ankeny wrestler in the yellow needs a takedown to tie the match. And
30 seconds. And a deep, nice shot. Oh, but a whistle.
right as the wrestler for Ankeny took a shot, there was a whistle and stalling called, and that's 1 point for Desmond Vaughn.
Yeah, the stalling called right there on the edge, and it stopped action right as Pomeranke was going in for a shot, and now he's to his back. Vaughn with a
7
headlock.
seconds, 5 seconds to go. Can he get a pin here with just 2 seconds? He'll get the near fall, but no back points. So Pomeranke survives the match, not getting pinned, but
he did give up the major.
yeah. So another 4 points on the board for Centennial. After 2 matches, it's Centennial 8, Ankeny 0. We'll listen to see who's introduced here at 220. I think Coach Groth is pointing out that should be a major decision. And now the scoreboard is adjusted to 8-0 for Centennial.
All right, so what we thought was coming at 220 is at 220. Colby Bales for Ankeny and Jackie Wells for Centennial. Jackie Wells, also a very good football player for Centennial.
Wells, a junior.
Nice double leg takedown. He shot that double from across the gym. Usually you'd like to be a little bit closer, but he exploded through and got the double leg takedown. Up 2-0 with 1:30 to go in the first period. Now he's got had the far wrist. He's being able to pull that wrist through as he's trying to work his way over. He's got the arm up. Now he switches to a half.
Chest to chest. He's got that pretty tight, but able to roll through. Colby Bales, the senior for Ankeny at 220 pounds. This is our third match of the night. Centennial winning the first 2 by major decision. And now a cradle by Wells.
Wells did a great job as he lost control of the half. Bales was trying to come up to his feet, and he jumped across, put that cradle on, was able to bring him over. Did not get any back points for it, but now has the power half working.
40 seconds to go in the first period. Just 4-0 our score. Jackie Wells, the wrestler for Centennial, that's on top in the black and silver singlet.
Nice job by Wells as he pulls that far elbow underneath, taking away that base and trying to work back into a cradle, which he does. If he can slide his hips away, now some back points. Well, not yet. Now he's gotten him settled down in there.
Under 10 seconds to go in the first period. Wells getting 3 more back points.
And Bales doing everything he can to keep that shoulder up and survives the first period.
So 7-0. Jackie Wells with a shutout in the first period at 220 pounds.
And we will be starting neutral here in a second. Jackie Wells had a fantastic double leg takedown in the first period. Now Bales trying to work inside position, didn't like it, and so pushed the head off. Did a nice fake, but did not have a chance to capitalize on the outside single. Nice outside shot there by Wells as he takes Bales right to the mat.
And 1:30 to go in the second period. It's now 9-0 for Centennial's Jackie Wells at 220 pounds.
That mid-level finish, he was able to cut across the body. He didn't go right to a double leg from it, but he had enough momentum off of that outside single that it covered quite a bit of the mat on the takedown. And now Wells is putting together that cross-face cradle. He's trying to get that knee and head to meet.
1 minute to go in the second period.
He does have the cross-face cradle on. Now he's got to lift the head and get it to the knee. Well, he's actually going to try and turn that into a claw and bring the shoulder underneath and look to a butcher.
And he runs that, and he's got Bales in trouble again. 40 seconds to go in the second period.
Wonderful job trying to bridge out of that, but on the second attempt at bridging out, he dropped both shoulders to the mat, and Centennial capitalizing on some bonus points in all 3 matches so far.
So major decisions in the first 2 matches. A pin by Jackie Wells for Centennial here at 220 pounds. And now our score is 14-0 Centennial, heading to heavyweight. And we'll listen in to see who's introduced here.
We're assuming Joel Kingston is checking in for Ankeny, which he did. And Noah Parley for the Jaguars. One of the things that
Cale Crimmins, he said, for Ankeny.
It was Cale Crimmins?
That's what I believe I heard.
Well, I might have to take a little walk through the Ankeny faithful again and find out who's who.
Joe Kingston looked like the freshman was going to be. He was on our lineup card, but Noah Parley for Centennial, a takedown against, we believe, Cale Crimmins, the senior for Ankeny. And just 20 seconds into this heavyweight match, Parley thinking, working for a pin, and he's got Crimmins on his back. And another pin for the Jaguars. And this one coming in just 35 seconds for Noah Parley, making our score 20-0 Ankeny Centennial. We'll take a timeout on CISN.TV.
Hi, I'm Chris from Fireplace Superstore. Fall is upon us and fireplace season is here, and you need a new Heat and Glow gas fireplace insert. They're the perfect thing to make that old wood fireplace more beautiful, warmer, and easier to use. And right now, Heat and Glow is giving a $200 rebate, making it even easier for you to upgrade that old fireplace. Please come see them today. Fireplace Superstore, 109th and Douglas in Urbandale.
We're at 106 pounds, our 5th match of the night. For Centennial, it's Cale Weiner, a freshman, and for Ankeny, a sophomore, Carter Davis. And no points yet, just 25 seconds into this match, although Davis is kind of draped over the Centennial wrestler, but no points here yet as Cale Weiner has that ankle pretty tight. May see a stalemate here in a little bit. A minute 15 to go in the first period at 106 pounds. 20-0. Ankeny Centennial on top after the first 4 matches, scoring 2 pins and 2 major decisions.
So we'll see how Ankeny responds as they are favored from 106 to 145. We'll see what happens as Davis does get Weiner turned to his back in that cradle and finishes it out. Ankeny on the board in a big way, trying to get the underweights a little momentum here. So the tide came in with Centennial. We'll see if it changes here any.
The first points on the board for the Hawks, a pin for 106-pounder Carter Davis, the sophomore, with a cradle. And 6 points on the board for the Hawks. It's 20-6 Ankeny Centennial. And now 113 pounds. And the number 1 ranked defending state champion for the Ankeny Hawks is on the mat. That's Trevor Anderson, a sophomore. As a freshman, he went all the way to the top of the podium at Wells Fargo Arena, and he has Kyle Jansen on his back there. Just 10 seconds into the match. 2 points and 2 back points.
Kyle Jansen does not want to just go softly into that good night as he fights his way off. Kyle's dad was our grandpa actually, Larry Hayes, national champion for Iowa State. So a little bit of wrestling in his blood too.
2 takedown, 2 near fall for Trevor Anderson within the first 10 seconds of this match. And our score 4-0. Now a minute 10 to go in the first period.
Well, sometimes a cardinal mistake of reaching back over the head, and Anderson had an opportunity to put the half in, but it was from his feet, and Jansen able to back out of that. So 4-1 after the escape by Jansen. And a nice shot, but he got caught again in that cow catcher.
Same move. More back points here for Trevor Anderson.
Anderson doing everything he can to get both shoulders down, and he does.
Another first period pin for the Ankeny Hawks at 113 pounds. Trevor Anderson with the fall with just about 30 seconds to go in that first period. So now it's 20-12, Ankeny Central on top as we move to 120 pounds, and this is a real key match.
Well, we'll see who's going to check in.
Yeah.
We think it should be Cale Cox and for Ankeny, and Jackson Breslin for Centennial. But you have a minute to decide who you're going to put in. So we're going to see who Centennial brings in. Now, the scoreboard shows 20-11. We feel it should have been 20-12, but right after the match, Trevor Anderson may have been given a penalty point for a team penalty point for a little playing it up to the crowd. So we're guessing that's what happened there.
All right. Unsportsmanlike, evidently. 20-11 is our score.
Certainly something that Ankeny did not need to have happen as far as trying to get into a dual victory here against crosstown rival.
And in all that excitement, not sure who's out on the mat. We believe Jackson Breslin for Centennial against Cale Cox for Ankeny.
Now, it could also be Kyle Hron for Centennial as he weighed in at 120 as well. But Cale Cox has the takedown and is in pretty good position here as he's working the arm underneath. He had a wrist. Centennial doing a great job getting that wrist back out.
1:10 to go in the first period. Cale Cox ranked number 4 by IA Wrestle. He's a junior for Ankeny at 120 pounds. Under a minute to go in the first period, he has a 2-0 lead. The wrestler for Ankeny on top in that yellow, I should say maroon and gold and white singlet.
And we do think that it is Jackson Breslin.
All right. And Breslin, if that is him out there, he's a senior and he finished 8th at state last year. So a couple of highly ranked wrestlers here.
Ranked number 5. As Kale decides to start neutral, so it's 2-1 with 30 seconds to go here in the first.
Breslin in on a single, but good sprawl there by Cox.
He's got a real tight single, but the problem is his head's still on the mat. He's got to get this head off the mat, start working in to the body as a stalemate is called.
With 18 seconds to go in the first period, it's 2-1. Ankeny's Cale Cox in the lead here at 120 pounds. 15 seconds to go. Another shot by Bresson. Counter by Cox, and he's very close to having 2 points, but Bresson fights in and gets a double. 2 points, and he's going to get almost some back points. None awarded as the first period comes to an end, and Jackson Bresson with a takedown near the buzzer takes a 3-2 lead into the second period.
Bresson had the choice here. He defers going into the second here, and so Cale Cox takes the down position. Works to an outside stand-up, but Bresson right there with a cradle. Bresson working the arm over his head and able to now get into a whizzer situation. But Bresson not giving up on it as that cradle is still there.
I don't know if he has it locked up, but they go off the mat, and Bresson remains on top, leading here 3-2 with 1:36 to go in the second period. The team score, Ankeny Centennial 20, Ankeny 11. 2 pins for the Ankeny Hawks at 106 and 113 pounds, but the Ankeny Hawks losing a point, a team penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct.
And again, still into the woes of trying to get the period started or starting from the referee's position, as several cautions have been called tonight. Things are heating up here as the rivals from almost 2 miles away from each other. The crowd's in it, the teams are in it, we're in it!
Yes, Jackson Bresson riding tough here to start the second period. A couple of top 10 ranked wrestlers here at 120 pounds. Bresson, ranked number 8, leads 3-2 with 1:08 to go in the second period. Cale Cox Jr., ranked number 4 at this weight.
You have to be very impressed with the city of Ankeny as far as turning out wrestlers right now. 11 guys ranked in the top 10 in this match tonight.
Wow.
And, you start thinking about if both schools were still together, what that would look like come to the state tournament.
Stall warning on Ankeny Centennial's Jackson Bresson. Yeah, we already saw one number 1 ranked wrestler, Trevor Anderson, with a pin at 113 pounds. We'll see his teammate, Caleb Rachi, coming up, also ranked number 1 at 138 pounds.
Cox did a great job on a Granby roll,
40
trying to
seconds
get out
to
of
go.
there, but he did not clear his arm, and so Bresson's still in command here.
Now 30 seconds left in the second period as Cox is close to a reversal. He's got it, and he takes a 4-2 lead.
He did a great job getting that leg pulled in. He had his arms around the knee, and he was able to suck that underneath his body and then hip heist over to switch sides for the reversal.
4-3 our score. Cox with that reversal jumps in front 4-3 with 13 seconds to go in the second period, so a critical 13 seconds coming up here for both wrestlers.
Coming into the meet tonight, you had to look at the lineups and think, Ankeny right now showing that they have what we would consider tournament team, and Centennial a dual team. But wow, you have to think these guys are very tight, and both teams showing that they could be tournament and dual teams.
And we start the third period with Ankeny's Cale Cox leading Jackson Bresson 4-3. And they'll go to their feet to start this third and final period at 120 pounds.
Cox in on that single right away. He's got the head inside. As he cuts across the body, if he gets his head up. He's got to turn his hips. There you go. He got rid of that arm, and now he's got 2 points to go up 6-4 with 1:45 left in the third.
Head in the side cradle is what he's looking for here. 1:35 to go in the match. And Cale Cox now with a 6-4 lead.
And Cox decided to let him up. Wasn't getting anything done there, so let's see if I can take him down again. There's plenty of time, but Bresson saying, I think I'm going to take a shot at this. Got in on the single, but nothing finishing. Stalemate called.
So I think to start the third period, Bresson was just awarded 1 point. He chose to go down, but Cox just let him up, so they started on their feet. That makes our score 6-5 after that takedown by Cox.
Here we are.
Under a minute to go.
We had a neutral start there, and Bresson was so quick off the whistle. The Ankeny faithful are pretty sure he may have started before the whistle. And
40 seconds to go. No change in position here.
Cox has the leg. Bresson is over the top of the body. And now Cox is taking control of it and gets the takedown.
With under 30 seconds to go in the match, it's 8-5. Cale Cox on top.
He does have the leg hook with the arm and now on the ankle.
10 seconds to go in the match. A 3-point lead, and it looks like Cale Cox will win this match for Ankeny at 120 pounds.
Cox throwing a hard crossface in there at the end just for good measure. Gets the 8-5 victory at 120.
So our first regular decision of the night, and that pulls Ankeny a little closer. It's now 20-14. That's the team score. Ankeny Centennial still with the lead as we move to 126 pounds, and again we'll have to watch and see who is sent to the mat.
We're anticipating Jace Anderson, which would be Trevor Anderson's younger brother. You know that old soul, that sophomore Trevor Anderson, his freshman brother out there on the mat now. Chase Anderson just broke the lineup, or the top 10 here. He's ranked number 9. He only has 3 losses on the year. And Logan Song comes in instead of Helmkamp, but Chase Anderson's only losses are to the currently, he lost 2 1-point matches, one to the 4th-ranked wrestler in 3A and one to the 3rd-ranked guy in 2A, and then his only other loss against a fairly decent wrestler out of Mason City with the last name of Shriver. So Logan Song weighed in and is taking the mat here at 126 pounds for Centennial. We'll see what happens with Helmkamp as the meet rolls on.
Yeah, Helmkamp, a state qualifier last year, and he's just a sophomore, so looks like he may bump up a weight to 132. We'll have to wait and see, but right now we're focused on 126. This is Logan Song for Centennial in the black and silver singlet, and the freshman Jace Anderson for Ankeny.
Song had a pretty decent job there. He was trying to work that front headlock, but Chase Anderson did not allow his hips to go any direction as he does a nice arm pass there as he drops down into a single leg and is trying to work that body over. Song doing a great job here with his hips and trying to get the crossface in.
Jace has stepped over very close, and he's got it. 2 points with 45 seconds to go in the first period. Our first points on the board to the Ankeny wrestler, freshman Jace Anderson.
You know, as they've been announcing these wrestlers coming on to the mats, I've been noticing that they're rather young. Both teams having some young guys out there. and performing very well.
Anderson takes Song to his back and very close to a pin here with 20 seconds to go in the first period, but Song able to work out of that. 3 near fall for Jace Anderson. 5-0 with now 12 seconds left in the first period as the wrestlers go off the edge of the mat. Again, we started at 182 pounds, so still a long way to go in this dual meet between Ankeny Centennial and Ankeny.
Nice job there by Anderson as he is working that. He worked the half and was able to break the Song's hips down. Then he switched over, but ran out of time before he could try and get back points going there. Song's choice now is going to be taking the down position going into the second period. Great job stopping that switch attempt by Anderson there. He was able to hang on to that elbow and Song could not clear the arm. Nice deep waist.
Song to his feet, but taken back down to the mat and to his back and getting points. That's Jace Anderson already leading 5-0.
Jace Anderson had a claw in and he had the leg hook. When you do that and you start getting back points, if you actually turn your own shoulders and face the mat, you can reach out, actually grab the mat, try and pull him over, but instead of doing that, he switched to a half and ended up losing that control.
2 back points for Anderson makes it 7-0. And just about a minute to go now in the second period, halfway through this match at 126 pounds.
Yeah, we got to get back to those bonus point matches. We've only had 1 regular decision so far.
That was our last match at 120 pounds, an 8-5 win for Cale Cox, as Ankeny has won the last 3 matches following 4 straight wins to start the duel by Centennial. 35 seconds to go in the second period. 7-0, Jace Anderson turning the wrestler from Centennial, Song, to his back. More points. And now he tightens it up. He's got chest to chest and sinks in that half a little deeper. Logan Song in some real trouble on the edge of the mat here. 15 seconds to go. Ankeny fans wondering what the official is looking at, thinking those shoulders are flattened. Just 5 seconds. And there's the pin with 4 seconds to go in the second period. And now we are tied up. It is 20-20 between these two teams as we head to 132 pounds.
And Ankeny certainly hoping that they don't have to chase that 1 team point that they lost for a little unsportsmanlike after an earlier match tonight. Jace Anderson doing a little bit with the crowd as well, but coaches got into him and no points lost.
Let's see who's introduced here. We think Jackson Helmkamp will move up a weight to 132. Yep. All right, so for Ankeny, it's the senior Riley Faith, and for Centennial, state qualifier from last year, ranked number 8 at 126, bumping up to 32 is Jackson Helmkamp, a sophomore.
And this is one of those matches where you thought possibly people would wrestle up, but and Helmkamp coming in here trying to take away one of these lower weight matches where Ankeny has been favored. Ankeny was favored all the way up to 152 in those early matches, which has happened. But Helmkamp trying to make a play on this, and he's right on the edge of the mat. We'll see if he gets 2. He's got to get his head up. And he does not, so they will go out of bounds.
And go back to their feet in the center of the mat. No score.
Oh, They did give
they
2.
Did. I didn't notice him awarding 2 points. But Helmkamp with 2 on the edge of the mat, and we're 50 seconds into this match at 132 pounds. Centennial's Jackson Helmkamp with a 2-0 lead. Again, Centennial in the black and silver, Ankeny in the maroon and gold and white trimmed singlets.
Nice job by Faith, just continuing to try and improve his position, and squirt his way out of bounds there as we start over here in referee's position.
40 seconds to go in the first period here at 132 pounds.
Helmkamp doing a nice job with the deep waist. Had a near wrist as well. Now he's switching off as he keeps the near wrist, trying to get it up on his back. Now he gets leg hooked in.
And 20 seconds to go in the first period as Faith is flattened to the mat.
Got a good cross face, lifting the hips. Now he's going to try and hip over, and he does, but loses the cross face. He's going to have to try again.
And he'll run out of time as the first period comes to an end. It's Jackson Helmkamp of Centennial leading Riley Faith 2-0.
Riley Faith really doing a nice job as he was able to get out of there with minimal damage. And now Faith going to take the down position here at the start of the second.
Helmkamp sort of looking for that cow catcher off the start. And now lets Faith go. So it's 2-1. Centennial's Jackson Helmkamp on top here, just underway in the second period at 132 pounds. This dual meet tied at 20.
Helmkamp was right there trying to shoot that outside single. Almost got caught in the cow catcher himself.
Here's a shot by Faith, but off the mat, and our score remains 2-1. Helmkamp with 1:26 to go in the second period.
Both wrestlers showing some very impressive balance as they're not easy to tip over, that's for sure.
Jackson Helmkamp, a little shot there with 1:10 to go now in the second period. He's got a 2-1 lead. Tries to do a sort of a pull by into a single.
He is set up there for a Kelly, but Riley was able to get his knee up to take that off, and now they're both back up on their feet.
45 seconds to go in the second period. Here's a deep shot and 2 more points for Jackson Helmkamp.
Helmkamp with the ankle. He's going to try and pull that over, but nothing working, so he lets go.
.25 seconds to go in the second period. Off the edge of the mat. Coming up at 138 pounds. If Ankeny keeps their lineup intact, it doesn't move their wrestler up, it will be Caleb Rachi, the #1 ranked wrestler at 138 pounds, the University of Iowa. He's committed to wrestle at the University of Iowa, and he's just a junior, so stay tuned for him. But right now at 132 pounds, we've got a 4-2 lead for Centennial's Jackson Helmkamp as the second period comes to an end.
And we're going to start on our feet one more time. Helmkamp chooses neutral. Working the head. Both wrestlers are trying to either get a pass by with the elbow and then shoot to the outside single, which Helmkamp does.
Stall warning on Faith for backing up. And very close to another takedown is Jackson Helmkamp with a minute 25 to go in the third period, and he's got 2 more. So now Centennial has to be thinking bonus points. It's 6-2 for Jackson Helmkamp.
Riley Faith had a great effort on trying to get to his feet and get an escape. Helmkamp brought him back down, but Faith was able to hook in here on a whizzer.
And now they'll just call a stalemate on the edge of the mat. Just under a minute left in the match. Jackson Helmkamp leads 6-2 for Centennial here at 132 pounds.
Riley trying to work to his feet, but he stalled out there, and Helmkamp almost came away with a cradle.
45 seconds to go in the match. 6-2, Helmkamp looking to put Centennial back on the board. They've lost the last 4 matches. The Jaguars winning the first 4, 2 by major decision, then a couple of pins. And Ankeny coming back with 3 pins and a regular decision, but losing a penalty point for unsportsmanlike conduct. That's why this dual meet is tied at 20 here at 132 pounds. And it looks like Jackson Helmkamp will get 3 more points on the board for Ankeny Centennial.
If you were looking for excitement, you're going to get it tonight.
Yes. So Ankeny Centennial now with a 23-20 lead, heading to 138 pounds. As we listen in for who's introduced.
We're assuming for Ankeny Centennial it's going to be Carter Bennett, or could be Joey Meyer, excuse me.
All right, so it is Carter Bennett, the sophomore for Centennial, against number 1 ranked Caleb Rachi for Ankeny. Rachi, just a junior, finished he's ranked number 11 in the nation by track wrestling, and he's again on a deep double leg and now up to a bear hug. And Bennett able to turn away and go down without going to his back, but quickly 2-0 Rachi. 30 seconds into this match at 138 pounds. Rachi lets Bennett up to his feet. It's 2-1.
And he is not backing away at all. We could be in for a takedown. And we are.
Rachi finished second as a freshman and then came back his sophomore campaign and finished on top of the podium as a sophomore, and now his junior year he's ranked number 1. Caleb Rachi for Ankeny with a 4-1 lead, 1 minute into this match at 138 pounds. He's got a cradle. Let's see if he can do anything with it. Bennett able to break free and get to his feet. It's now 4-2.
And on a third shot, and Rachi gets his third takedown. He is a technician in putting on a clinic here in the first period. You know, and some people would argue that one of the reasons that Rachi wasn't a state champion as a freshman is he got an injury, and it took him a long time to come back from that. He was able to make the state tournament, but did not get on a roll to finish like they had hoped, or had he had hoped.
30 seconds left in this first period. Rachi with a 6-2 lead. The Ankeny wrestler on top here looking for another cradle. Almost gets it locked up there, but Carter Bennett, the sophomore, able to break out of it. Now 15 seconds to go in the first period, and it looks like Carter Bennett, the sophomore for Ankeny Centennial, might just survive this first period against the number 1 ranked wrestler in the state. Did I speak too soon there? Nope. Bennett able to roll through, but more back points. It is 8-2 Actually, those are the first back points for Rachi. And well, did they wave off the back points or give him 2?
No, nothing awarded on the scoreboard yet.
All right, so Bennett may have rolled through there, so our score remains 6-2 as we start the second period. After this match, we've got 4 more. And there's the 2 near fall, the scoreboard operator just a little tardy.
And we're going to get potentially at least 1. Yep, there's 1 for the escape, and now
whoa,
Rachi coming through with a trying to make a throw here, and he's not done yet.
Now that's looking pretty tight. He's got Bennett in big, big trouble. With a minute 30 to work with.
You have to be pretty impressed with Bennett somehow surviving that. A contortionist, if you will. He'll probably feel that in the morning, though, as his neck got wrenched real well trying to survive the fall.
1:25 to go in the second period. And Rachi with a big 14-2 lead. Trying to get a pin and get Ankeny back in front in this duel. They trail 23-20.
Centennial's doing everything they can to make sure that they don't give up the 16 points.
There's one more for Bennett with a minute to go. We're halfway through this match, and Rachi has a 14-3 lead over the sophomore Carter Bennett.
Bennett trying to work on a cow catcher in there, but it's hard to throw somebody that's got the balance that Rachi does and the experience. He's wrestled all throughout the Midwest in his young career.
Rachi now with a 16-3 lead, just 35 seconds to go in the second period.
This is where, as an experienced wrestler, you have to make sure that whatever back points you get, it's deep, because you want the pin, and if you don't get it, you're only going to give up you're only going to gain the tech fall, which is what he did.
So 5 points on the board for Ankeny's Caleb Rachi with the tech fall coming in the second period. And it's now Ankeny on top of Ankeny Centennial by the score of 25-23.
Caleb Rachi's dad was a state champ when he wrestled in high school. So we're not sure how far the wrestling bloodline goes back, but we certainly know that it was there in the family to start.
Ankeny with a 25-23 lead, and there's 4 matches left in this duel. For Centennial, out on the mat at 145 pounds, it's Jacob Cuppy, and for Ankeny, the third-ranked wrestler in the state at this weight class in Class 3A, Sam Kellum.
Kellum has committed to Grandview for wrestling.
Finished 7th at the state tournament last year as a junior.
And this is a match where Ankeny needs to not only get the win, but they got to get some bonus points here to stay in this meet, as once they hit the 160, the tide starts to turn again back into Centennial's favor.
Takedown for a column. A minute 10 to go in the first period at 145 pounds. And back points on the way for the Ankeny Hawk wrestler.
got a nice, well, had a nice chicken wing in there, and he was working for the half Nelson as well. Just didn't work out.
But 3 back points makes it 5-0 here with 35 seconds to go in the first period.
Now he's got the arm up on the back. Just has to make sure that he keeps it at 90 degrees or less. The official down there taking a look to see. So far, so good. He was not able to lift him over and get some back points.
8 seconds left in the first period off the edge of the mat. A 5-1 lead for Ankeny's Sam Collum, the senior.
Getting in there, trying to control the head, little push-pull action, but ran out of time before the shot was taken. Centennial's choice here in the second. He defers. Collum's going down.
Leading this match 5-1. Just underway here in the second period at 1:45. We've had 10 matches so far, and Ankeny leading this duel 25-23, and looking for more points here at 145 pounds from Sam Collum.
Nice Granby roll there. Collum is able to get out.
Making the score 6-1 with 1:40 to go in the second period.
Centennial doing a great job keeping their distance. But, you know, that right there, that's a pretty classy job there by Collum. You get into these crosstown rivals and you get somebody toward the edge of the mat, sometimes you just like to put them into the stands for you know, neighborly sake. But Collum did a nice job, saw where they was, and he stopped. Both guys going back uninjured. Good work, Sam.
Collum with a real nifty ankle pick there. Going for a low single and 2 more points, makes it 8-1. As the Hawks look for some more bonus points here at 145 pounds from their number 3 ranked wrestler. Centennial's Ben Monroe coming up here shortly, ranked number 2 at 152 pounds. You know Centennial's going to be favored in that match.
Favored 152 and up. I misspoke earlier when I said 160. So they really need to have these bonus points here. To try and extend their lead going into those last matches.
20 seconds left in the second period here at 145 pounds, an 8-1 lead for Sam Collum of Ankeny. 10 seconds. And there's a stall warning on Jacob Cuppy, the senior for Centennial, with quite a challenge here tonight. So 8-1, heading to the third period.
So Cuppy appears as though he is going to choose down. There was a stalling call, which was the second one, to extend the lead 9-1 as we start the third. Collum in on that wrist and a deep waist. Actually, he was looking in there for a spiral ride, but ended up going down to the wrist. Still has the deep waist.
Just underway in the third period here at 145 pounds. Sam Collum of Ankeny with a 9-1 lead. And if he can just get his team some more bonus points, they'll need it heading into the final 3 matches. His team has a 25-23 lead, but Centennial with an advantage in the final 3 weights coming up.
The crowd getting into it, thinking that Centennial not doing much here and should be called for stalling again. Nice shot attempt there. That's going to erase any thoughts of calling a stall, but Colin doing a great job spinning around for 2, bringing the score differential to 9.
It's 11-2 with under a minute to go now in the match. No change in position here, no escape or anything for Cuppy.
Colin is trying to figure out a way. He's got to get him turned to help Ankeny try and extend the lead.
30 seconds to go in the match, 11-2.
To give
now
themselves
11-3
a chance here in the last matches.
So Colum, as it stands now, has a major decision, and he gets 2 more points. Now 15 seconds to go in the match. And so it looks like Ankeny is going to lead 29-23. Heading into the final 3 matches. And that is the final score, 13-3. A win for Sam Colum.
13-3 over Jacob Ankeny Centennial on the mat, 152 pounds. On the mat, Ben Monroe, Centennial, Caden Bulldog, Ankeny.
All right, so 152 pounds. We are looking at the number 2 ranked wrestler in the state in Class 3A. It's Ben Monroe for Centennial. He's in that black and silver singlet. He plans to wrestle at Iowa State after he graduates from high school. This is his senior campaign. He's undefeated early in the season here. He finished second his first 3 seasons. So he's been in the state championship match his first 3 years as a high school wrestler, and finishing second each time, hoping to come out on top in his senior campaign. He's got Caden Kolthoff, a senior for Ankeny, the opponent he's facing tonight, and it's 2-0 after that takedown by Monroe. Or I missed the first takedown, so 4-1 now for Monroe.
Well, Monroe got to work quick with that first takedown. And then things weren't going quite as, it didn't feel right, so he just went ahead, let him go. Took the second takedown, let him go, and now he's working on his third. Nice job sliding the hip past. And Coach Groth saying, hey, let's do this all night. Take him down, let him go.
3 takedowns in the first minute of the match for Ben Monroe.
Make that 4.
Yeah. In the first minute 5. And it's 8-2.
Coach Groth now, Monroe actually took a look to see what Coach Groth wanted. Said stay on him, try and turn him, but didn't feel right, so Monroe let him go. And got another takedown.
It's fun to see some of these kids, they come in as freshmen like Ben Monroe, just 106 pounds, and makes it to the state championship. Now he's a senior, he's up to 152.
Yeah, and ended up getting his 12th takedown, now 13th takedown.
And just a few seconds left here in the first period.
My apologies. I said I was giving you the score as I was counting takedowns. He only has 8 takedowns in the first period, which is still pretty impressive.
16-6 is our score after the first period.
And with all the action that was going on, I think the scores table is doing it right. Let's call the officials over and just make sure we have everything square as far as the score is concerned. And the question being, is it truly 16-6 or 18-7 or 14-6. But
right now it says 16-7.
Going to keep it at 16-7.
Here we go, the start of the second period at 152 pounds. Ben Monroe in on another double leg takedown. And now working on some back points. That's Caden Kolthoff for Ankeny, trying to fight through this match against the number 2 ranked wrestler in the state at 152 pounds.
And we're saying number 2 because you look at 2 different places. He's ranked number 2 in one poll and number 1 in another.
All right.
So we're going to call it 1.5.
A minute 20 to go in the second period. The scoreboard showing 18-8, now 18-9.
Ankeny with that 6-point team lead, and Centennial trying to tie it up or get it within 1.
1 minute to go in the second period, and Ben Monroe now just 3 points away from a tech fall as Coach Groth urges him to let him go and take him down again.
24-11. Now it should be 26-12.
That should do it. So a tech fall in the second period for Ben Monroe, and that makes our score Ankeny 29 and Ankeny Centennial 28. We've got 2 matches left, or 2 matches left.
Which, you know, we get into these upper weights. I was talking to some coaches, and they talk about Jerry and Ryan Pizzetti, football coaches here at Centennial, and how they promote their kids to be out for wrestling. At 160 pounds and up, every one of those guys is a football player. They say if it works for Iowa, it can work for Centennial.
I know we've got Daniel Rose out there for Ankeny, and I think I heard Carter Cahill for Centennial.
Which is what it said in the original lineup, so let's go with that.
Cahill, at least by some publications, ranked number 9. Daniel Rose, a senior for Ankeny.
We're working on the scoreboard. The table does not have your math skills right now there, Pat, and they do have it squared away now, 29-28 in favor of Ankeny so far.
Still waiting to see if that unsportsmanlike conduct 1-point penalty against Ankeny will play a role in the final score here, if it really will matter much. But right now the Hawks leading the Jaguars 29-28 heading into the final 2 matches. And at 160 pounds again, the sophomore Carter Cahill for Centennial, Daniel Rose, the senior in the yellow singlet for Ankeny. And it's Cahill in on a single leg trying to score the first points of the match.
Not only do these guys wrestle against each other, they play football against each other, as Rose, also a football player for Ankeny. Cahill doing a nice job working those legs, trying to hip him over. Had a crossface, but Rose able to fight that off. Both guys showing some very good strength.
45 seconds to go in the first period. It is Cahill leading 2-1 now as Rose gets the escape.
Good shot attempt there by Rose. His head just a little high and ran into the chest of Cahill.
20 seconds to go in the first period. 15.
Nice attempt there by Rose with a snap down. Just didn't have any offense to follow it.
Just 5 seconds left in the first period, and it looks like our score will be 2-1. Carter Cahill of Centennial with the lead headed to the second.
Rose in the down position here to start the second. Fairly decent attempt at a stand-up, but Cahill said, not right now. Rose back up onto his feet. Cahill still in control with that good, strong, deep waist. Working on that near wrist as well.
The match is tied now, 2-2. A minute 30 to go in the second period.
This is where wrestling gets excited. Teams close, wrestlers close, great action. It's good to see that the sport of wrestling is alive and well in Iowa.
Yeah, a couple of really good teams here tonight at Ankeny High School. Under a minute to go in this second period. It is Carter Cahill of Centennial leading Daniel Rose by the score of 4-2. 50 seconds now to go in the match. And we've got one more match to go after this one. 170 pounds coming up. That'll be our final match of the night in this very tight duel. And back points now for Cahill.
Nice job on the hip over with the crossface. But Cahill just a little too tight to the body. He was not able to continue to pull Rose over and drop that near shoulder to the mat.
Just 2 back points there for the near fall with 15 seconds to go in the second period.
Deep waist, near wrist, now working up to the elbow, working inside toward the far wrist now. Just doing a nice job moving his hands around enough to keep Rose guessing as to where the escape could potentially come.
Cahill with a 6-2 lead headed to the third period, and he'll start the final period in the down position. And a great switch right off the whistle, and takes Rose right to his back.
So we're going to get the reversal. We're going to get some near fall. And that is going to extend the lead beyond 8 points.
So 2 reversal, 3 near fall, and now all of a sudden it's 11-2. Cahill looking for more than just a regular decision here at
11-3. 11-3 with the escape at the edge of the mat.
1 minute, 20 seconds to go in this match at 160 pounds between Carter Cahill and Daniel Rose. Cahill for Centennial leading 11-3. Now a minute 15 to go.
Rose with an attempt there on a double leg, but again, head too high and he ran into the chest of Cahill again.
1 minute to go in the match.
Ankeny's team and fans desperately wanting Rose to get a takedown here to make it just a regular decision. Cahill in on that outside single and finishes it well.
Boy, he looks tough.
He does. Dropped Rose right down on the mat, and he's up 13-3 with 35 seconds to go here in the match.
Carter Cahill, just a sophomore, really ready to go tonight for Centennial. And this match winding down. We'll take a 30-second timeout when we, right before we start the final match of the night at 170 pounds. Just 10 seconds to go in the match, and it's going to be a major decision, it looks like, for Centennial's Carter Cahill. Another 2 points. Makes it 15-4. That's our final.
160 pounds, Carter
And so now Ankeny Centennial back into the lead. And we'll be back with the final match of the night after this on CISN.TV.
Hi, I'm Chris from Fireplace Superstore. Fall is upon us and fireplace season is here, and you need a new Heat and Glow gas fireplace insert. They're the perfect thing to make that old wood fireplace more beautiful, warmer, and easier to use. And right now, Heat and Glow is giving a $200 rebate, making it even easier for you to upgrade that old fireplace. Please come see them today, Fireplace Superstore, 109th and Douglas in Urbandale.
So we had a forfeit at 170 pounds. The dual meet between these two teams ends rather undramatically.
It does, and now it also shows that the score being 38-29 as a final is a little bit skew, as it was 29, Ankeny 29, Centennial 32 going into the final match. But Ankeny saying, no, we're done. We'll see what happens as we continue on. And I think that kind of shows what we talked about a little bit earlier in the match. The two teams, Ankeny came in ranked higher, but those team rankings are based off where people predict them to finish at the traditional state tournament, where most people think Ankeny actually could finish higher because they have more guys that could go further into the meet or into the tournament, placing higher than Centennials right now. But I tell you, I'm pretty impressed with Centennial, as they showed not only good depth across the board, but they competed very well and could maybe turn some heads.
Yeah, really came ready to wrestle tonight. The Jaguars coming out on top 38-29. Our final, we'll take a final timeout here and back with our final thoughts after this on CISN.TV.
Why do I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau's seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
Central Bank, proud to be a long-standing Iowa tradition. Founded in 1887 in Storm Lake, we've grown over the years from that one location to a bank serving Northwest and Central Iowa, employing more than 200 people in the region. Being here and being from here, it makes Central Bankers unique in the banking world. Decisions are made here. Investments of our time and resources are made here. For us, banking is still about people. Our reverence for community and hard work speaks to a proud Iowa heritage. Our passion for small business to bold new directions forward for our bank and the Iowans we serve. Thank you for your support of Central Bank. Let's keep it going. Let's plan together. Let's execute for Iowa's small business, agricultural, and individual banking customers. Central Bank is ready to make it happen. Member FDIC.
Our final score tonight from Ankeny High School, it's Ankeny Centennial beating the Hawks of Ankeny 38-29. The Jaguars winning 8 of the 14 matches, but that last win a forfeit by Ankeny. And Keith, your final thoughts on tonight's duel between these really two good wrestling teams.
Very good wrestling teams. We watched the meet go, and it unfolded like most people suspected, as far as the dual team versus the tournament team, but you really need to start looking at the bigger picture now, thinking Centennial might turn some heads here as their guys continue to improve throughout the season. There are really 3 teams in Class 3A that have kind of separated themselves from everybody, being Southeast Pole, Fort Dodge, Waverly Shell Rock, Bettendorf is kind of in there, but there's a second tier of about 6 teams, and everybody knew Ankeny was going to be one just because they're going to have some very high place finishers at the state meet. Centennial, they're going to have some guys finish very high, and now after watching them tonight, I'm not so sure they're not going to have as many guys get to the state tournament again as they had last year and have those guys actually perform. They get on a roll, they're going to turn some heads. The other thing to think about with Centennial, they might have a legitimate shot to do some very good things at the dual team state tournament, maybe even placing as high as 3rd, 4th, 5th, right in there.
Yeah, they placed 3rd last year in the dual team tournament and 4th in their traditional tournament. So a lot of people around the state will take notice of this one tonight as Centennial beats Ankeny 38-29. The Jaguars now 7-1 in duels early in the season. Ankeny falls to 2-2. Their losses coming to Mason City and Centennial. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Our next high school wrestling broadcast will be on January 2nd. So next year. Johnston at Dowling. That should be a good one. Johnston, a really good wrestling team. We've seen Dowling already. So join us for that the night of January 2nd here on CISN.TV. For Keith Bornes, I'm Pat Curtis. Thanks for watching.